just so inspiring for me to be able to listen to you, each of you, and the things that you're doing, and envision the possibilities of us all working together. So, even take it away. We've
Thanks,
given you a great
David.
group here.
So my name's Eban Goodstein. I am an economist and director of the graduate programs that focus on sustainability at Bard College in New York. And what I want to do today is, first of all, start on a note of gratitude. Thank you for being here. This is important work, critically, vitally important work, and work that surprisingly is not gaining the global sort of attention and traction that it needs at this particular moment in time. And I want to start off with a screen share here. Oh, Kirian, can you let me share my screen? Make me co-host. Give me that authority. Thank you very much. And I didn't want to share that. What I wanted to share was actually my PowerPoint, which I probably need to stop share to do that, right? Share screen. There we go. Okay, I don't know if you all saw this, but this was to me just yet another one of these sort of incredible wake-up calls about the work we're doing. I was hopeful that, and I knew coming into 2023 that it would be the hottest year ever, but it is just mind-blowing how hot the planet got last year. So in December, we hit 1.78 degrees C above pre-industrial. And you can see just how far out of the range we've gotten so quickly. And in spite of this, global events take over the news, and it feels very much like kind of the frog in the hot water heater. I don't want to sort of exclusively focus on this. There was some very good news today about U.S. carbon emissions actually starting to decline in a non-recession year. That is something new, and we're celebrating, but obviously it's not fast enough. And so while I heard, I believe it was Brooke say would potentially get her students involved, we absolutely need your students involved. This is a time where I know you're all leading this charge, but we have to double down. And in particular, we know, and this is our theory of change, that there are thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of educators, of faculty members, teachers around the world who are growing increasingly climate concerned. They see this, right? They are the people who see this. They are the people who think about the future of the younger generations. And how do we mobilize them to get involved with a message of not climate despair, which is easy, right? When you see pictures like this, but climate repair, right? We've done a lot of damage to the climate. There's a lot of repair work to be done, and we all have to figure out, what is our role in that? And it's not just, solar engineers and scientists, but we need writers and artists, and we need people of faith, and we need engineers and biologists and economists and lawyers and business people, right? So it is the work of a generation, and it is the job of educators to engage young people in that work, right? And we believe that they are out there, right? That if we just do the kind of old-fashioned organizing that we need, which is to reach out and actually have conversations with people face to face, that we can persuade them that despite their busy lives and all the other obstacles that are getting in the way of them embracing this kind of climate education, it is something that they can and need to do now, right? And so that really is the philosophy behind this work. I mean, I get 30 emails a day asking me to give money or do something or be involved with this or that. It's very hard to break through that noise. And the only way we can break through that noise is with these kind of one-on-one conversations with our colleagues, and recognizing that they're receptive to that message, right? They want to be involved. They want to do something, but it's a distracted world, and it really is a question of focusing people's energy and attention. So with that, let me tell you about the work we're doing, and not my emails, but there we go. All of you know or are familiar with the worldwide teach-in, the Worldwide Climate Justice Education Week, the Solve Climate by 2030 initiative. But I wanted to share the kind of the resource and the vision. And we really have sort of a two-track kind of way to engage. The first is making climate an event or a series of events on your campus during Climate Justice Education Week. The second, and I was intrigued to hear you have 50 faculty members who are ready to roll on this, is to, during that week or during April, to ask all of those faculty members to bring climate into their classroom, to make climate a class. And let me talk about those two pieces separately and in terms of the resources. We just posted this blog on our website, 7 ways to make climate an event. And I'm going to just run through them. The 3-hour climate teach-in is something we have done many times and lots of schools have done many times. It's the whole point here is how do you reach beyond the 30 or so students who will show up for a climate event if it's advertised as such. And the 3-hour climate teach-in is basically, it's a low budget, fairly easy to organize evening event where you ask all of those climate concerned faculty to join panels. So you might have a panel on overcoming climate despair, right? And you could have an artist talking about how artists are responding to climate change. You could have a psychologist talking about climate anxiety. You can have a literature professor talking about how writers are, addressing that issue. So you create a series of panels that might, that involve the humanities, that involve the sciences, that involve the social sciences, that involve international affairs and language teachers and all kinds of folks, right? Give them an entry into this. If you've got, let's say, 3 hours, 3 panels each hour, 4 faculty members on each panel, that's 36 faculty members. If you got 36 faculty and, mix it up with some students and staff, you're going to get 300 people, right? So that's a signature event. We have plays, so you can involve theater-oriented students to produce or podcast interested students to do play readings or play performances. They're 5 minutes long. They're great for then, doing all 3 of those and inviting discussion in between. At Bard, we have been doing a dinner, mocktails and supper with community climate leaders that's more like internship and job focused, where we invite in, people from regenerative farmers and solar companies and people who are doing grassroots organizing and whatnot, and we mix them with the students over dinner and conversation. You can screen a film. We're partnering with Bullfrog Films, but I love How to Blow Up a Pipeline. It's a nice provocative title. It's a great film, good conversation starter. We have faith-based events, get your school chaplain, rabbi, imam involved in hosting some sort of kickoff event for people of faith who want to approach this. Lots of art, campus-wide stuff you can do. Got a lot of game options for people who want to play board games or card games. My favorite is Energize NYC or Energetic, where players compete to decarbonize New York City by 2040 by building lots of offshore wind and solar and transmission and overcoming political obstacles. So these are what we envision as the kind of events that you can run that kind of reach outside the box and can get more students involved. But the trick is typically to figure out ways to engage communities that aren't already engaged. It's not just the 30 environmental studies majors that you're trying to reach. It really is the broad campus. Let me pause there for any questions about that. I'll take you through there's links to resources, obviously, in this blog post and Carrie Ann will share the link in the chat for me if you wouldn't mind. Any thoughts or questions?
Yeah, this is Morris.
Yes.
One of the things that I've been having a conversation with some of my colleagues is to engage in what we call tree planting. We wanted to continue on the work of Wangari, who passed
Yes.
away, the Kenya environmentalist.
Yep.
And one of the things that she focused on was tree planting as another way of creating this whole idea of planting more trees that will help to cut down carbon. And that is the initiative that I am contemplating on expanding in most parts of Africa, but of course, anywhere else it can be done there. And I think I wanted to find out, would that be a good idea that fit within the scope of what you just explained?
Absolutely. And I should add that as an eighth, an eighth thing to do, because getting students outside is not something I had on the
Yeah.
list. And, getting them, pre-planning is a terrific way to go. It requires budget, right? Because you got to maybe partner with an organization that can provide the saplings or the seedlings. But yeah, it's terrific and important.
Yeah.
And
If I
hands-on
can,
kind of
if
environment.
if I can add to that, I have been in consultation since I came back from Dubai. I've been in consultation with a group of guys that are engaged in tree planting. And the idea here was to say, okay, you can ask an individual to purchase a tree. Say, give me $19 for a tree, and you want to purchase 10 trees. We identify the area that the trees can be planted. There's somebody on the ground who will be doing the legs work to plant the trees. And then we find something like a gauge that we attach on our tree with the name of the person that purchased the tree.
Yeah.
So as the tree matures, it becomes the person who paid for it becomes their property, so to speak.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
It's not about making profit out of it, but
Yeah.
it's the willingness and desire to say you are making contribution towards fighting climate.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And you could start a campaign among your students and faculty to,
Yes.
give us $2 for a seedling and we'll put your name on the tree kind of thing, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oop, are you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Muted, I think.
Yeah, go ahead. You're muted. You're muted, Joe. Can you hear me? You're muted. Whoop, we can't hear him for some reason. I don't know why.
Joe, you need to unmute.
Yeah.
Sorry for that.
Yeah.
Yes, I forgot to turn on the micro. We have already anticipated some work in Portugal. We are preparing a seminar in our secondary school. Really, it's ninth grade. No, they are not from secondary level. They are from ninth grade. But it's the level previous to the secondary studies. But we are preparing a seminar, and the reason is that we didn't expect for April because it was a question of agenda. Because I teach citizenship. Besides geography, I also teach that matter. And I had them one class till the first semester, just in first semester. So it was not possible to expect for April. We have already prepared something. We had the collaboration of local authorities, so we'll have ways to record the event. It will be as I've already said, in 23rd January. There will be 8 sessions because they are small sessions of more or less 40 minutes each one, because it's open for 400 students from all levels, since the 4th grade and 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. But all materials were prepared by students of the 9th grade.
Oh, wonderful.
They have, of course, we have used a lot your resources of your platform, and we'll be very pleased to show after 23rd January the event, we are going to make a record of that, a video record. So we are pleased to I don't know how to share this record, but I think you're going to explain me how it will be possible, and we are very pleased to show our work till now.
Well, yeah, that's wonderful, and you will have the privilege of kicking off the event. So you'll be our first event, and we do have a blog. It's called the Solve Climate News, and so what I would suggest would be that you work with some of your students to write an English language or Portuguese language.
Yes, of course. Yes, the event will be in Portuguese.
In Portuguese, that's fine.
Yes, but no, but we can make a small abstract in English. I think they will not have problems with that. But of course, it has to be in Portuguese because there are students from the 4th grade involved, and they don't know English sufficiently to do it in English. So, but we are going to do it in Portuguese, but I think you will have the opportunity to see what they prepared.
Very good.
In the university, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, at university, I've already, for the same reason, for an agenda reason, I have already prepared something, but that will be in the first week of April. We are going to make an assessment of the footprint from all the community. We have prepared a quiz, a questionnaire about the footprint, and we are going to put it in the university's platform, and we expect that all people will answer that. We are going to make that assessment.
Very good. Okay, well, thank you for that, for the contribution. And I do want to emphasize the one thing that you need to do right away, if you haven't done it, is to register your event. I think we got our Galapagos. Do we have our Galapagos event up there somewhere? I think we do. Yeah. So that's fabulous. But we need bubbles on the map. That is
okay. No, I think
what we need.
I didn't. I have not done that. I've just make the inscription of this school is in a small town near Porto. I'm from Porto, Portugal. It's second biggest town in Portugal. There. Okay.
You're there.
Great.
All right. Yes. So if you haven't done it already, please do this. This is so important to kind of the growth of this initiative. And you just go to the events page here and you can register. You don't have to know the details of what you're doing. You can go in and edit it later on to provide more information about the events. So if we click on the Porto event right now, what do we get? Something come up?
Maybe just the two inscriptions of Maya's University and Rolongo. I don't know.
Even if you scroll up and you go to, or there you go, you want to go to the Make Climate event page. So next to pledge, there's our description. And then click there.
Click there.
Multiple ways to get there, folks. I will put links in the chat as well. This is the map that will have the descriptions.
Okay, this is the map that actually functions as a descriptor. Okay, so all right, so that's really important. And let me skip to the other piece that we're working on here, which is, we said Make Climate an Event is an important thing we want to do, but we feel like we can reach more people if we also make climate a class, right? And this is the idea of how do we reach out to, those tens of thousands of educators who are not climate experts. That's not what they're trained in, but they want to bring climate into their class. And so we're asking every teacher, every class, every subject, every school, every level to spend 30 minutes during April and just saying, I'm teaching introductory to physics or European history or romantic literature or adolescent psychology, things that have nothing on the face of it to do with climate change. I'm going to take 30 minutes to talk about how my work in this, or how the work in this discipline intersects with climate change, right? So as a physicist, that's easy. As an anthropologist, you can talk about how it's impacting culture, literature, how does climate come in? So there's always going to be a way that you can sort of open up the conversation to students from within whatever you're teaching to a focus on climate change, and inspire students to say, well, you know, I like economics, or I like literature, or I like physics. I can use those tools to start to solve the climate change problem, right? And I can see how they intersect and how they relate, and how I can be involved. So as teachers, we're not asking students to, you know, get political, you know, or to go protest, although obviously you could if you wanted to. We're just really asking them to think, right, about how this dramatic change that we're imposing on the planet is being reflected in the context of what they're learning in all different disciplines. So how do you do this? You know, I sent out an email to all our faculty at Bard. I spoke at the faculty meeting. I'm getting people to pledge and sign up, and we're supporting them. We have a speakers bureau. So if people want to bring in a Zoom expert who does know something about how history intersects with climate change, or how artists are thinking about climate change, we can make that connection, right? And we have a big network of people. We can find experts who can support faculty that, you know, want to go a bit deeper. I mean, any faculty member can spend, you know, an hour or two on Google and figure out how their discipline is intersecting with climate change, right? So, you know, if one faculty are good at anything, it's talking. And, you know, anybody can talk for 15 or 20 minutes about climate change, but if they want to go deeper, we can provide those resources. So in terms of resources, we can give expertise, but also if you look at our website, if you go to our resources page, it's very deep. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time digging in, except to say the one piece I really want to emphasize is our primary curricular partner is called Subject to Climate. And this is a great organization that's emerged in the last couple of years that is really supporting teachers who aren't climate experts that want to start bringing this into the classroom. So if you type in, I don't know why is that getting in the way? Hold on. I don't want suggestions. Hold on. All right, I was going to show what a great thing this is, but now it's messing me up. Well, if you type in Oregon, it gives you lots of teaching tips, but I wanted to type in algebra. There we go. So if you type in algebra, you get 56 sort of lessons that involve climate change in algebra. Or if you type in history, you know, you get 466. Or you type in, you know, English, literature. What do you get? Literature, curious. You get 44 results, okay? So there's lots of terrific ideas that are out there right now for teachers that want to do this, and you can point them to this. So
you can also find the resources by just doing a click on the left side, subjects and grades and various things.
It's organized,
and you get a pull down menu.
Yeah, so grades,
pull down and clickable.
AP, college, English. Oh, it's doing a subset, English literature.
Right, yes, yeah. So this is all English literature by grade level.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So really that's it. I mean, we're here as a resource. We are, convening every 2 weeks for the next month, and then every week after. There's a dozen of us on this call. We need hundreds of people on this call, right? And the only way we're going to get them is if you reach out to your colleagues, let them know about us, kind of insist that they learn about us, right? Because teachers are in climate despair as well, right? And the logical reaction there is just to disengage, right? Because it just seems so overwhelming. This is a way to empower them. And if they do this once, they're going to want to do it again and go deeper, right? So this is our appeal to you. You guys are the leaders. We need you to contact your friends and colleagues, and we know you have them, and tell them they have to come to our next Wednesday event, which is 2 weeks from now, or certainly to check out our program, sign up their school, they can sign up as individuals to make climate a class, or get together with 2 or 3 other people and commit to hosting some sort of event on their campus. So what other questions do we have from the group? Any thoughts or ideas, ways we can build the movement? We've only
Sorry,
got a couple
Eban,
of months.
sorry, Eban and David.
Yeah.
I don't want to monopolize the presentation, but we registered your suggestion of making a live meeting between my secondary school and another from Africa. I think
Yeah.
in the other session there was someone from, I think it was Nigeria. No, I'm not. I don't remember well, but I
Yeah,
think it was.
several African countries. I'm not sure which one. Yeah.
Yes, and we'll have. I've as I said earlier, as we have the support of the local authorities, I also make the possibility of having digital resources to make a live event and a meeting between an African school, an
Yeah.
European school, as we are, and a United States school, I think, or university, as you want. I think that can be another possibility, and of course that we can do it in April also.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, and that's a great addition to any kind of event series, is to do some, or making climate a class, is to connect with a global partner somewhere in our network. And we're glad to broker that. We're glad to make that possible. Any other questions or thoughts? Oh, Brooke, you've got your hand up.
Hey, Evan, thank you. So something that I've done a little bit of is to offer a climate graduation pledge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of fun. It's a nice way to do organizing around a campus, either within a particular school or across the university, that can get lots of people involved in making the ask, and therefore initiating conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the kind of thing that, if there's an environmental group at the school, they can write a graduation pledge that feels, really resonant with them and that school in particular. Or if you Google climate graduation pledge, you'll see a lot of different examples of social and environmental pledges that have been created. And I think the key there, as with most things, is to, start small. And one of the things I like about it is that it's, so when I first did it, when I was a student, I just focused on my class, and then we focused on the broader school, and then they may end up focusing on the broader university. But
that's a great idea.
that's
That's a really great
one
idea.
thought.
And sort of what types of things did people pledge to do? Just
It was
work for the climate.
It was a general awareness. It said, in any, so some of the pledges, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, but some of them were around, as I graduate from this community and move out into the, or the global community, I will take, I will, evaluate and consider the impacts that any job that I take may have, and how I might be more socially and environmentally responsible in my job and in my personal life.
Sure.
And then, as we know from voting research, by simply making a commitment that elevates the possibility. And then if there's a way for people to also offer a follow-up email or something, or possibly groups of people, that, dramatically elevates the degree to which people engage.
Very good. That's a great and very simple organizing device and tool. And let me add that to our list of 7 things you can do, because we have struggled a bit with an action item that sort of works at a global level. And it strikes me that is kind of a nice action item that does make sense, regardless of the school you're in or the country you're part of, or the level of education. So thank you for that suggestion.
And I'll just mention quickly,
yeah.
it doesn't have to be an official university thing too. So you can skip the whole administrative
Nobody, you don't
administrative burden.
No permission for that, right?
A student group can simply do it, which is great.
Yeah. Okay. That's a very good idea. So yeah, let's figure out how to add that in. John.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very excited. But I guess one of the things I wanted to raise was that I've spent quite a bit, I would say the better part of the last 6 or 8 weeks at least, looking for resources on my own, having come across the ones that you're kind of featuring on your site at this moment, and coming across many more, including some great ones that are based in Canada. And one of the things that kind of takes them to the next level, some of the ones I've just found recently, is their inclusion of indigenous sources of knowledge and activities that are rooted in kind of learning from the land. And also, I'm sure you're aware that the research on climate education has come out and been pretty convincing that focusing just on the science has not moved people's behavior as much as we need to do in order to cut down on fossil fuels. And so the focus on kind of social emotional learning as a basis for and I'm going to bring up the word values to the kind of sense that as educators we need to bring values into our teaching. I think this probably resonates with Jennifer and Genevieve in their work, that we need to start early and build these things in. So I mean, what I've been really contemplating is a kind of learning that is more than making a class, but making every class kind of rooted in environmental and climate learning. I know that's a very ambitious goal, but I guess I can boil it back to one question, and that is, are you still looking for sources or resources to post and share on your site?
What I would welcome you to do would be to write a blog post that sort of uncovers all of those resources and frames them in the context of your vision of every class being a climate class all the time. And then we will post that blog post on our site, and we can link to those resources from our resources page.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And I'll also add just on, you mentioned Genevieve and Jennifer, that their curriculum, the Origins curriculum, is as I understand it, is totally grounded in the holistic indigenous North American perspectives, and they're going to be sending us at least a sample packet of resources that we should be receiving soon. So I look forward to that and hope I haven't misrepresented what you've committed to doing, Jennifer or Genevieve.
I could actually jump in here. So what we've been trying to do with Origins curriculum is specifically K through 5 is each grade level kind of focuses on one of Earth's biomes. So throughout the curriculum, they focus on one biome. So desert, forest, aquatic biomes, through the lens of really preserving nature and understanding how it's all interconnected. So we really try to weave in the future of our planet as well. By the end, they have a really deep understanding of how each of Earth's biomes work together to create our planet that we strive to protect.
Thank you. And I would add that on kind of communication, there was just a piece done by the Yale Center for Climate Communication or something, that sort of global survey of kind of what moves the needle for people. And it really was creating a livable future for planet for future generations. It wasn't green jobs and technology and health impacts were significant, but the story that really grabbed people was stewardship and values based. So your instinct is right that is the most politically efficacious way to engage. And of course, our vision is that, you know, when faculty do this once, they're going to see that they want to do it more. But there is fear, and there's inertia, and there's sort of this sense that this isn't my job and not my work. And so the most important thing is really getting people to take this first step, getting them to engage and get involved with this initiative this year, because we don't have time. Alan, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. My question is, beyond putting our event, however defined it is right now, on the map,
yep,
what else can we do to start building up the buzz? What would be your recommendation to share our results? Like when we're doing an event, when we're doing whatever it is, you know, is it taking videos? Is it writing a blog? How can we reflect each of our initiatives the most efficiently possible? You know, whether that includes social media, or how can we kind of like spread the news about what we're planning to do, but also what we've done once we've done it, and while we're doing it sometimes.
Eban, I can step in here if that's okay.
That would be great, Brianne.
Yeah, it's a great question, Alan. So I think there's kind of 3 phases, right? There's the before, the during, and after. In advance of your event, we will have like a packet of social media templates and poster templates and presentation templates to help you broadcast about what you're doing. That's what our next webinar on January 24th is going to be about. And I will be leading that. My background is primarily communication, so you'll get a plethora of things to support you with that. And beyond just sharing about your event to get people to show up in your community, the other thing that you can do that's extremely helpful and that is happening right here on the call is asking colleagues in your network to think about doing the event themselves. Consider sending that email to your colleague and be like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Can your school also do it? Can we collaborate? I know that there was some really great collaboration in upstate New York where BARD is. With Vassar, back when I was a student, we had some kind of exchange of climate events. That's a really great way to not only get another campus involved, but if you can do it in your micro community, which for us was upstate New York, small liberal arts colleges, you know, we got the whole county involved in the work we were doing at the time. So that's a big thing for before, is broadcasting about your event and also asking colleagues to also participate. The during is, as you said, capturing the moment. A lot of the past events are actually recorded and on YouTube, which makes for a great resource for other communities. If you're hosting virtually, something we'll recommend and talk a lot about right around April, early April, is attending other events around the world, which David did a huge spree of. He attended more than 2 handfuls, more than what you could do, what you'd expect around the world. And the way that was able to happen is because people were recording and posting their events, posting blogs, posting summaries, making their own webinars that were some of the presentations that were happening. All of that content is extremely helpful for the cross exchange, for you to be able to go and see what other places are doing and inspire work for this year and next year. And also, it's just really empowering to see how different communities are looking at the work in different ways. So I definitely recommend capture the photos and videos, but if you can do a blog, if you can do a webinar, if you can record something and make a video out of it, that's another great way to capture it. And then after all your events are over, we will send out a form to all of our hosts, and we will ask you to tell us about your event. So how many people came? What did you talk about? How many different events did you do? And that's another way for us to capture information, but we also put together a report where you'll be able to review everything that's happened, and we collect photos and videos there as well and create an entire gallery of what happened during April with all of our events around the world. So there's we'll take a lot of info and bring it all together, but you doing the capturing is a big part of that as well.
I need to drop off now. It's 1 o'clock. I'm going to leave it to David to close out, but we need to think about this in terms of, you know, a 5-year window, right? This is the time frame of which we really need to change the educational landscape along the lines that John was thinking, right? I mean, I showed you that the numbers at the beginning of this call, and this is the time, right? This is the moment, and you are the leaders, right? You are the people who are on this call, and that leaders mean that all of us need to take at our own level a vision of how do we grow this in our communities, grow this in our neighborhoods, grow this in our states and cities, right? So I just want to end on a note of gratitude, the one I began with. Let's stay in touch and figure out how we're going to get this done, because we have to.
Great. Well, thanks, Eban. And I'll just add one other set of resources, and we'll go back to you, Alan. Is that we are working with, Karen mentioned Solve Climate, or even mentioned Solve Climate. We're also working with the Earth Day organization, and we mostly them have developed a calendar for Earth Month where every day there will be a subject, a theme for every day of April, and there then are on this calendar, which is a clickable calendar, there are links to curricular resources related to that theme for every day, and they're divided up into 4 different levels of pre-college education. And the undergraduate sort of, I think, overlaps with the advanced secondary education. So we're just meeting on Friday to, I think, finalize that and talk about our distribution plans. I'm hoping that we can have them on one of these webinars in February. But so that will be, again, John, the kind of thing that I think you were looking for. And, you know, it'll be 1 month. Nobody has to, required to follow it, but it'll be, I think, both high quality and high accessibility. So I will add my thanks to Eban, and if there's anybody who wants to continue in conversation, I do have a few minutes, or we can just adjourn. But I, again, will remind you, we don't have a webinar next week, but in 2 weeks at the same time, either noon Eastern time or 9 a.m. Eastern time, Carrie Ann will be presenting a session on the resources, communication resources that we have. And then starting with that, we will be having webinars every week. So then on the 31st, we didn't mention the Climate Literacy and Energy Awareness Network. This is a group that does highly vetted, high quality curricular cataloging, mostly science-based, but not entirely science-based, mostly K-12, mostly English. But anyway, they'll be presenting on the 31st. And then in February, we'll have, and I'm not sure the orders on these yet, but climate and health, films that can be used in educational, environmental education purposes, teaching in a context of political challenges, let's say, to teaching about climate, and then something to introduce this Solve Climate / Earth Month, Earth Day curriculum. So starting next week, we will have these every week, and we'll use the same link, and you're welcome to join us. And please take Eban's challenge and, bring 3 friends with you next time. So thank you all. And yeah, John, we're happy to chat. And if others want to, we can do that. But why don't we end the recording and then we can continue informally?